So, welcome to another episode of Soundtrack of Our Lives. I'm here this morning with Sandra Garlick from Women Who, amongst many other things that you also do. And if you want to give a little explanation about what sort of things you get up to.
Oh, I get up to loads. First, it's great to be here. Absolutely loving this idea and picking these songs. But in the day job, I help women in business to power up their personal brand and get visible. And I do that through an online academy, annual awards, and also speaker boot camps. And I love creating opportunities for women in business to speak on my stages, and I help them find their story, craft it, and find the confidence to be themselves and inspire other people. And that's what I want to do. If I can inspire just one person by sharing a story, then that's mission accomplished.
And this whole thing came around, so we've known each other, I think it's about 10 years or so.
I know.
If not maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And it was at the, what were we on, like a mastermind group. Yeah. And you are, as may come up in conversation here, a slightly clumsy person, is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that particular time, I think you turned up at one meeting on crutches, and was it your ankle that you'd broken on?
Yeah, it was the ankle time. Yeah. So I inherited my clumsiness from my dad.
Yeah.
He was clumsy all his life. You know, if there was a ladder, he'd fall off it. If there was a crack in the pavement, he'd trip over it. And, you know, he broke his ankle, he broke his wrist, he broke his fingers, he broke his toes. And I've just followed in the same path, really. I've broken exactly the same bones.
Same bone, that's
exactly the same bones.
Very strange, isn't it? It's quite uncanny.
So it was the ankle that time.
The ankle.
And there's a big joke amongst the business community every time I break a bone, I launch a new business or launch a new idea.
And that was the point to bring it up, really, was that injury sort of stopped you in your tracks doing something and led to this Women Who community and awards and everything that's come about it. And as we were just speaking earlier, I mean, you've got over 1,700 people now in the community, which is incredible. You had your awards yesterday. The social media has been red hot. Everyone's been enjoying getting their awards and sharing it, and people are just enjoying in that success, really. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. And as I say to everyone, in the description of the video I'll put all of your details, so it'll have links to your socials and websites and all of these awards things, so if people want to look into it, they can obviously get in touch and see how they can get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think for me it's about seeing the transformation in these women. When I meet them, they're quite shy, reserved, they want to do so much, but they've got no inner belief that they can. And I want to create the fact that you can be anything you want to be. You just have to learn how to exude that confidence in the right places and find your story. And once you start sharing it, I've seen women come that are so timid and so shy, and then suddenly they're standing on my stage inspiring a room full of 200 people, and it's just amazing.
Such a buzz, that, isn't it, to see them just completely come out of their shell and realise that they have got so much to offer. And it's just fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to just segue smoothly into the first choice then for the songs for today. I was just saying before, I actually love this song. So you've chosen Earth, Wind and Fire, September.
I have.
And why have you gone for that disco classic?
I loved Earth, Wind and Fire. I know a lot of people berated them over the years, but I absolutely love Earth, Wind and Fire. I think they just exuded that dance clubbing era, and I always used to, as soon as September came on, I used to dance to it, and some of my friends used to say, oh God, Earth, Wind and Fire again. And it was when I heard it on Night of the Museum, the film, and all the dinosaurs and T-Rex and all the little men came to life, and they're all dancing and they're all doing, and I just thought, that's how I feel when I hear September. That's how I feel. And, you know, sometimes I'll just fast forward on that bit of the Night of the Museum.
Just go to that bit,
Just to go to the September bit, or watch it on YouTube or something. And I think, I just want to dance around the room. It just makes me feel great.
Yeah, it's just so, it's a real happy, uplifting kind of vibe, isn't it? And, I've seen the film and I know the bit you mean, and I'll probably find a link to that and stick it in the description as well, because it's really good. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth watching.
Yeah, that bit
is brilliant. It's full of joy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll try not to sing it because, you know, but I mean, it's in the car song, and you know, you're just pelting it out at full blast. If I'm in the house, I'm dancing round. It's just one of those songs that just really uplifting.
It can't help but make you smile, can it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, very cool choice. I remember when the TV show Big Brother.
Yeah.
When I can't stand it now. I haven't watched it for years. But when it first came out, it was quite a novel concept, and it was pretty interesting. And this song, and I don't know why this particular bit stuck in my head, but there was a guy on the show, and it was either the first or second series, because I didn't watch any others, called Alex, and the door swung open, and he was stood behind it, and this song was playing, and he was just singing into a hairbrush. There must have been piping the song through the house. It just burned in my head for some reason, and it was because it was just pure joy. He was just so happy. And I'm going to try and find it on YouTube as well, actually, because I haven't seen it for years, and I wonder if it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's just
brilliant.
A happy song. I just love it.
And then choice number 2 is a reggae song. It's UB40 and Kingston Town.
Yeah. So I love reggae. Yeah. Absolutely love reggae. Grew up with reggae. It was just a thing when I was growing up, and it still is now. If I hear a reggae song, it just, I don't know, a lot of the feelings behind a lot of the words as well. But I've always been a UB40 fan. Loved UB40, and this particular song, Kingston Town, again, I just hear it, and it's funny. I was in a bar. I'd been to an event and we went for a drink afterwards, and we were in the bar, and this song came on, and just everybody knew all the words. Yeah. Everybody in the bar just started singing it. But one of the reasons I do love this particular one out of all of the UB40s is I watch a TV drama, light-hearted, called Death in Paradise. Yeah. And when my dad was alive, and I moved in with mum and dad for a period when my dad had terminal illness, and we used to sit. My mum used to go to bed. She hated watching what we watched. Yeah. She'd get to bed, and my dad would say, "Do you fancy a whiskey mac?" And that's whiskey with a Stone's ginger wine in it. I say, "Oh, go on then."
I was going to ask you what the whiskey mac was, because I've not heard of that.
He'd say, "Do you want a whiskey mac?" I'd say, "Oh, go on then." And he'd say, "Go and get a couple then, and we'll watch Death in Paradise." And we put Death in Paradise on, and it's always about a murder and how the detective, and it's set in. Well, it's actually a San Marie, but it's Guadalupe where they film it, and it's just lovely. They always play reggae tracks, and I just remember they played Kingston Town this one time, and my dad was I was sitting there singing it, and it just takes me back to sitting there on the sofa with my dad, watching Death. And even when I watch it now, it's got quite a distinct theme tune, and I've got a really intelligent dog. And when he hears that theme tune, he jumps off the sofa, and it's almost as if he looks for my dad.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
He kind of understands. Well, that must have mean this.
Well, it used to be on at 9 o'clock. It was always a 9 o'clock, and my dad was very strict. He had to be in bed by 10, and my mum used to bang the floor. Time for bed, Bob. And Death in Paradise music, and he'd stand up and he'd go over and turn the telly off, and the dog would naturally jump up. Yeah. So I think now when the dog hears that song, it's really bizarre. He just leaps off the settee and looks at me as if to say, "Bed."
Yeah, now it's time for bed now. Do you not know the drill?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great, isn't it? Then these sort of memories you have, quite special, and the programme itself probably not that important, but just that memory of sitting time with your dad and having these drinks and things.
Yeah, and just that music brings it back. But it is a song that I just love listening to.
Yeah, I mean UB40 are fantastic, aren't they? They've got a new album out, isn't it? UB45, I think.
I don't know. There's sort of two UB40s now, which is they split. And we went to see, my friends and I went to see one a year last Christmas at the Utilia, and it was I was just singing my heart out. And they'd recorded some new stuff, but they did a lot of the old stuff as well. And it was just amazing.
Yeah, just brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. I didn't know there was two though. I wasn't aware of that.
I think they did
a couple of members of...
Yeah, Ali Campbell and that. They did a bit of a split, I think, and there's sort of two versions of the band going around. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they can get back to one again.
It would be great, nice, wouldn't it? But yeah.
Right, your third choice, and this is a Coventry band, and you're Coventry girl through and through, aren't you?
Born and bred.
Born and bred, yeah. This is the enemy, and we'll live and die in these towns.
Yeah, and it's become the anthem of Coventry City Football Club.
Yeah.
Now, I started watching football, I'd say illegally, but only illegally in the sense that my mum wouldn't allow me to go. And she says, it's rough, you can't go, and she hated football. Football was banned in our house. My mother would march up to the TV, we're turning that rubbish off. My brother hated football, my dad hated football, and I desperately wanted to go, and I'd sneak in. They used to open the gates at half time, you could sneak in and watch the end.
Yeah.
So I used to go with my friend, my mother didn't know, and watch the end. Anyway, I kept going on, wanted to go, and eventually I was a bit older and I fancied this lad. And I said, please let me go, I'll die if I don't go to the football. You go off with somebody else, I need to go to the football.
It was a real moment.
Yeah, it was a life-changing moment. Anyway, I persuaded my mum to let me go, but I couldn't go in the West End. I had to go on the Sky Blue Terrace, and I could only go if my dad came as chaperone, and he was behind me in the stand, and he had to watch me, and I watched the football or this lad. Anyway, within 10 minutes I'd lost interest in this lad, fell in love with the football, but my dad made me 10 minutes before the end, I had to meet him at the exit. Went to meet him and he said, did you enjoy that? I said, oh, it's brilliant. He said, yeah, it was. Should we come again next week? And from that moment on, we had season tickets together.
Got the book, so that he just went and watched it.
And my dad loved football until he died. And it's, even his last few words were Coventry City. Where are they? And they were top of the league on the day he died. Wow. And we got promotion that year. But coming back to this particular song, We'll Live and Die in These Towns, it's become the city's anthem. And I was at Wembley, and I'm getting shivers thinking about this. I went to Wembley. It's the first time I've been to Wembley with my two boys. I usually go in the corporate. And I've always looked down to see all the fans and thought, oh, that atmosphere looks great. But I was with my boys, and there was flags, and we were all waving them. This came on, and it's become the anthem, and everyone was singing it. The noise it just went through my whole body. I'll never forget that moment for as long as I live. And just everybody, they played the full version of this song, and everybody just sang it. It was just a magic moment.
The whole stadium.
Yeah. And it was interesting because when Manchester United sang their song, it's one of our songs as well, so we sang theirs for them too.
Joined in that one as well.
Yeah, and our fans were just amazing, and to be there experiencing that with my two boys and thinking of my dad, because at the time there was this sea of blue, and I knew how much my dad loved the football. And we won really.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question.
Yeah,
there's
we won
no question.
really. Just ditch VAR. We won really.
I was watching it at my mum's house, and we were all watching it. My kids were there, and my sister and her kids, and we were all watching the game. And what struck me about that was, as you were saying there, that the Coventry fans were incredible. I was actually wondering if there were any Man U fans in the ground. The sound coming out of the Coventry side was amazing.
What we were told afterwards, and what I realised very soon, is a lot of Manchester United fans are from all over the world, and there's no community.
Yeah.
There is no community, whereas Coventry fans are predominantly Coventry people from around Coventry and Warwickshire in the wider periphery, or they're people that are just passionate or came to study in Coventry or something like that. So you've got a community. Yeah. We had 19,500 season ticket holders last season, so you've got that community there. Whereas Manchester United, their fans didn't even stay.
Yeah.
So at the end, we looked as if we were the team that won, because for half an hour we were still in the stadium singing and applauding our players, and all their fans had gone. It was bizarre.
It's weird, isn't it? And it's sort of
but I think it came down, they didn't know the song because they'd never been, they'd not experienced it.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, it was cool, and I'm with you. They won the game. End of story. And,
absolutely.
And they should have been in the final. But okay. Song choice number 4 now then, which is Katy Perry and Raw.
Yeah, and this is a fairly recent one for me, and I call it my walk-up song. And when you're running events and you run awards, and I train people to be speakers on stage, I always say, what's going to be your walk-up song? What song would make you feel good, uplifted, and mean something to you as you're walking up to the stage? Because it's a nerve-wracking thing, standing on a stage before an audience and speaking. And I just heard this in the car one day, and I just thought, that's my new walk-up song. It just made me feel, as if sometimes we're put into a place where we're put down, we're made to feel not worthy, we're made to feel unimportant, we're told to get back in our box. And I'm all about encouraging women in business, and men as well. It's not a men bashing thing, you know, to be yourself, to have a personal brand, to be, you know, everybody is unique, we're all unique. And I believe everyone should have the ability to be heard and to share their voice, no matter where they come from, no matter who they are. And I think sometimes, and you know, back in my dark past, I was in a relationship, I was married, and I was put down, and I felt that I couldn't be what I wanted to be. And one thing that my mum told me when I was small was, you can be anything you want to be. Yeah. But I felt as if I was being suppressed, and it wasn't until, you know, and I lost my inner confidence. But this song is about that, you know, don't let anybody put you down. You've got the right to, you go out there and roar, you know.
You just go out and give it all you've got. And,
absolutely, and I walked up to that at my awards last week, and it made me feel good. It made me feel, look what I've achieved. I've brought all this together. I've brought this community together. Everyone in this room is going to feel special. So everybody that walked up the stage, all my speakers, picked their walk-up songs. So,
and it's a very loud, empowering kind of song, isn't it? So it's a great choice for that. And like you say, that with what you do with the community and sort of pushing other people on to achieve these things is just fantastic.
I always say it's, and I said this on at my awards, it's not about me, it's about the audience. And the lovely thing I did this year at the awards, everybody got their chance to be on stage, and if they hadn't walked up to be presented with something or whatever, I did a shout out and I said, is there anyone in the room who hasn't been on my stage? And I said, come on. Men coming up, there was loads of people coming up. And it was just lovely to give them that moment on the stage. They've had their photo taken. And it was just the most magical thing to be able to do. And I had an accessibility stage this time as well, with a ramp. And I had a lady in the audience who was in a wheelchair. And I didn't want her, yes, we went out to her, but I wanted to give her the choice. And I said, if you want to come up on stage, the ramp is there for you. And she did.
She did,
yeah. And that was important to me too. So this song just gave me that whole uplift and that real
positive
boost.
Vibe about the whole day. Yeah. Fantastic. And it seems to have gone fairly quick, but we are already at your last choice. I'm going to try and pronounce this.
I know, I don't think I can pronounce it either.
Israel Kamakawiwoʻole.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm not going to try and repeat it.
Read
Israel.
the description, it'll be in there. What a song. Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah. And I kept hearing this song. And you know, and different places, and I'd hear this song come on, and it just, and I use Shazam a lot now, you know, and I Shazam things. But I'm going back years, and I kept hearing it. And I walked into a school when I started my solicitor's practice a few decades back now, and I heard this song, and I was walking into a school reception, and we'd sponsored their football kit. Yeah. So I was taking the kit into them, and we'd got you know, the shorts, the t-shirts with the logo on, wet weather gear for the teachers, and
the whole clobber.
Yeah, so we were sponsoring it all, and carried these boxes in. Saw the head teacher, and I said, "What's that music?" And it was the assembly music. They were all coming into assembly. I said, "What is that song? What is that song?" He said, "Oh," he said, "I've got it somewhere." I said, "Would you send me the link? Would you send me the link?" Anyway, he did. He sent me the link, and it always reminds me of him. Sadly, he passed away with terminal cancer. But whenever I hear that song now, it reminds me, I love the song and how it makes me feel and I think it's the best rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. But also it always reminds me of that head teacher as well, and you know, that he was just such a special person. I'm actually friends with his wife, but yeah, and he was the one that gave me the link to the song, so I've got it on my playlist, and I probably play that a couple of times a week.
Yeah, it is. If you haven't heard it, say don't go now because we're not finished, but click on the link, go and have a listen.
Yeah,
it is beautiful. It's like you say, easily the best version of that song.
Yeah,
it's really special,
and it's sad in a way because the Israel, the guy that performed it, he died at just 38.
Very young,
he was extremely obese.
Yeah.
I think it was about £1,000 when he
was a
died.
very big
died
guy.
of respiratory. But he's got several albums, and his music is just. I think he was originally from Honolulu or Hawaii, around there, and his music was amazing. And he's left a legacy.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I look and I think, what would my legacy be? You know, and I think it's great to have a legacy. I'm not talking about money, leaving money, property. Those I'm thinking about, you know, non-tangible assets. What is your legacy? What message do you want to leave behind? What gift do you want to leave behind? And that embodies that record, that song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and his story and everything. It just, it's
how, and I suppose it ties in with what we were just saying with your awards and your community and everything. It's how you make people feel.
Absolutely.
Really, isn't it? So when, you know, you want to be remembered. Well, I don't know. I'd like to be remembered for how you make people feel. That you're helping them and you're trying to build them up, or you're encouraging them, or whatever it might be. That's a legacy to have, I think, isn't it? That people will talk about you in fond terms.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I was awarded my MBE for my services to women in business, but it's always been important to me, whatever I deliver, whatever I do, it's the transformation, it's how I make them feel. I want to make them feel inspired, motivated, empowered, knowing that they can take the next step. And it's my social feeds have been absolutely flooded the last few days, but I've read the comments, and the comments are, I didn't enter your awards, but I was in the room and I felt special. I was in the room and, you know, I didn't win, but that didn't matter because I felt inspired, you know, and all these comments, and I think, job done.
That's mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. That's exactly how I wanted people to feel.
And that's the non-tangible, you know, it's not
a
car or a book, but it's something so much better than that, isn't it?
It's the experience, I think. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's been really good to talk to you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Very last minute as well, because I was struggling for episodes, so you have bailed me out, which is much appreciated.
You're welcome.
And I will obviously share this on Monday. Hopefully your socials may have calmed down a little bit from the awards on Friday, and then we can get this out and people can have a listen.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Cheers.